Okay, I'm turning you on here. I'm going to start mine. I am recording. It is picking me up.
Okay. New 3, 2, 1, mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Look for the second one because the first one, when you said that, we're going to do 3, 2, 1, mark. I hit
Oh,
mark.
you hit mark. That's fine.
So look for the second one. Look for the
All
second
right.
one.
I'll
All
do
right, so
that.
it's recording.
I've got 9:59 on the clock.
Oh,
All right.
let me get my phone.
I'll
Where's my
do.
phone?
Yeah, get your phone.
Where's my phone? I just had it. So we are live, and oh, there it is.
And there's a crotch.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if you were a chick, that'd have been a great angle. You know, first crotch, then you bend over the camera, but you know, you're not. So.
I know, I'm not, and this doesn't work very well either. So there you go. Now that we've proven we are somewhat misogynistic, let's move on.
Well, you know, to balance that, before we get into the show, before we get started, did you see the video I posted on Success Freaks that was sent to me about the proponent of gay marriage, or the argument for gay marriage? We'll
No.
marry your girlfriend. Oh, you gotta go watch that. Okay, we'll bring it up on the show then. Well,
All right,
yeah,
good.
we'll bring it up on the show.
You know, in our yeah, whatever.
All right, so it'll be a fun little blip out there. We can bring it up at the end either way, but whatever feels right. But yeah, we need to talk about it because it's fun. Okay.
Just when you're bored, you know, when you're like, this is going nowhere. Let's talk about this.
So now I'm going to interrupt your opening because, you know, it's going nowhere. All right. I'll do marker, time, and then you'll hear the music. All right. Marker, time, music.
This is R. Morton Mon.
And I am Charles McFall, and we are all about bigger, badder, better, more.
Bigger, badder, better, more. We're here to help others be awesome.
And you've landed on the comedic motivational show, Success Freaks.
Welcome everyone to the #1 check yourself before you wreck yourself comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. Tonight's working title is episode 158, Forgiveness versus Guilt. And today we're coming at you semi-live from Apple Valley, Minnesota, and the Bears Den in Monticello, Georgia. And in that Bears Den, taking his sip out of the cup of power, is the dark side of positive, Charles McFall.
That's right. I always have my coffee out of a soup bowl. I mean, for those of you who don't know, there's a video of it over at successfreaks.com/YouTube. You can see the videos that we shoot while we're recording, so you can get behind the scenes of what we do. But speaking of videos, this week, one of our good friends and teammates, Nolan Overton, sent me a video to make my day better, and it did. It made me laugh, and I ultimately posted it on Success Freaks on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Success Freaks. But it's an argument for gay marriage. Now, if you're not for gay marriage, don't take offense. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to say you don't want to watch this video. But it's a really well done. It's from collegehumor.com. It's an original that they made. And it starts off with a gay guy going, okay, so you're against gay marriage. You want to keep it between a man and a woman. That's fine. We'll marry your girlfriends. And then the rest of it is how they'd be better at marrying your girlfriend than you are. And it cracked me up. There's a Star Wars reference. It was very funny, and I appreciated the video. So that's over on Success Race. There is some slight adult language in it, sparingly. So just keep that in mind. You might not want to blast it on your speakers at work if you're going to listen to it or watch it. But I think the F-bomb's dropped once. So
it's not an actual rated R because you have to drop it twice for an R rating.
And I put a warning on the video itself, like, hey, there's a little bit of adult language in here, so just understand it's that.
So, well, we now return you to the show back from that advertisement of something that's on Facebook. Check us out there, and leave all your comments there.
There you go. Comment away. We'll talk back to you.
All right. Lately, I've been listening to, and because those of you who know me, as I don't really like to read too much because I just don't have time, so I like to listen to a lot of my books. Thank you, Audible.com, for that. And that is not a paid advertisement. It is just me saying thank you. I love you. I've been listening to The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal, PhD. No relation to the teacher McGonagall on the Harry Potter fame, I'm sure. Anyways, chat. We had a lot of notes, and I'm just going to pluck from them. And just so you know, a lot of what I'm going to be saying, maybe quotes from the book. So just consider anything that sounds informational as quotes from the book. It's chapter 6. This is the one that I'm hitting mostly. Basically, self-control strategies like guilt and self-criticism can result in feeling worse. We need to give up those if we want to succeed. Basically, if you're trying to accomplish something, you want to quit smoking, you want to eat better, you want to go to the gym, you want to stop playing just video games and have a real life, and you're like, I've made this promise, whether it's your New Year's resolution or you're just like, nope, this is something I'm going to do, and every once in a while we trip up. If you trip up and you come down on yourself really, really, really hard, chances are you're not going to get back on the horse again. Chances are you're just going to go fall into what is called the, let me find it, what is called the what the hell syndrome. What the hell, I've already screwed up. What the hell, I've already gone off my diet. What the hell, I've already done this other thing. I might as well eat more. I might as well smoke another one. I might as well do this more. What the hell? So if you're really coming down on, and anybody who's making a promise to you, who feels bad about whether they've wronged you or they've wronged themselves, if they're coming down on themselves very, very hard, you can lay money that they're not going to pick it up again. Meaning that they're not going to get back on their diet, that they're not going to quit. Yeah, if they're promising you, hey, no, I promise you next time I'll do this, they're not. Chances are they're not. Now, if they're just like, hey, man, I'm sorry, I goofed up, I'll fix it next time, and they let it go, chances are they're going to be right. According to studies, you can lay money on that. And the same is true with yourself. Self-criticism.
Wait. I want to throw out real quick, for those of you who are Gamblers Anonymous, we're not telling you to lay money on the fact that you're going to gamble again, okay? So, keep in mind, these are just metaphors. Don't bet on yourself betting again. You'll win that bet, but that's the last one you'll ever win.
That's right. Self-criticism backfires as a strategy for self-control. They did a study with people where they had them. It was people who had to taste a certain kind of candy. And it was a taste test for candy, and they had 2 different groups. The first group, and they were people who like to eat candy. So the first group, they're just like, here, eat the candy. We need to do this. Blah. The second group, they had a little speech basically saying, if you're on a diet, don't feel bad about this. You're doing this for a study. A lot of people fall off their diet, and it's not a big deal. You can get back on it again. Don't come down on yourself too hard. Now, and afterwards, they weighed the candy to see how much people ate. The people that they said nothing to ate quite a bit of candy. The people that they gave them kind of an out to feel good about themselves, they ate less candy. They didn't, in fact, even though they were saying you're guilt-free, because they felt better about themselves, they ate less candy. Your brain kicks into something. Let me see if I can find that. Your brain kicks into something where it's trying to save itself. It's basically, not only is it trying to take care of you so that okay, the brain wants to protect your mood too, not just your life. There's a reward system that's activated in that. Wanting to feel better is a healthy survival mechanism, as strong as the need to flee danger. The promise of reward or relief activates the brain's reward system. Promise of relief does not mean you're going to feel good. Often you'll turn to things that will turn on you, like alcohol, drugs, sexual stimulation, Facebook, video games, and other quick achievement, goal quest-oriented games, food. Only 16% of people who eat to reduce stress report it actually helps them. So a lot of times your brain is going to do things like it wants you to feel better versus, if you want to do the thing that is actually going to help you out, your brain's going to go, I don't want you to feel bad. So if you're in a stressful situation, you're going to do whatever that is that makes you feel better.
Are you saying, are you kind of alluding to, and I know you're reading from the book at first, and now we're giving your thoughts on it, are you kind of alluding to your brain is your enabler?
Your brain is your enabler.
I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of what I just heard. It doesn't want you to feel bad, so it's going to kind of kick in. I kind of got that whole picture of, well, I feel crappy, I'm going to eat. The brain goes, okay, well, you don't really feel better because you're eating, but I'm going to make you think you feel better for right this second because you're eating, but the stuff's still there. So it's kind of right? And that's what I heard.
It's not just that the brain doesn't want you to feel bad. The brain wants to protect your mood. So that there's a slight difference, nuance there, but it's true. You know, what's interesting is that binge eaters stressed about weight will eat to feel better. Spenders stressed about money will shop to feel better. People stressed about being behind on a deadline will surf the internet and social media to feel better. And I've noticed this myself. If I'm working on a story, or if I'm working on an article, and I'm kind of stuck, immediately my brain goes, hey, why don't you go look at what's on the internet? Why don't you go and check that out? You know, immediately I'll get there. Now, what happens? Do I write the article any faster? No. You know, especially if I'm on a deadline, in fact, it's wasting time for me. Do I wind up feeling better at the end of the day if I'm spending 2 hours or more playing video games when I should be working on something when I should be working on a Success Freak show? No, I feel worse. Now, one thing I have found, I'm working on a script for a screenplay for Tortuga Twins. And I'm wrestling with it a little bit. I'm wrestling with the story. It's a different format that I'm used to, different formula that I'm used to doing. So I'm not as inclined to jump into it because I'm like, and I'm only going to do this an hour a day. It's like, commit to this and you'll be fine. Those days that I goof off, I feel kind of bad about, especially if I'm just trying to, I'll do this thing that makes me feel better. It's not what I think, but it's what I do. Oddly enough, if I jump into it and I finish my hour, that day I feel great the rest of the day. I start wanting to do other stuff I can accomplish, things like that. So you got to be careful with that. The guilt, applying guilt to yourself or self-criticism will not help you jump back on the horse. It will not let you do that. It will not relieve the stress of what you want to do. Later on, we're going to talk about those things. So
we are indeed. So stay tuned. We're going to pull out what Morten is guilty about and maybe where I can forgive myself. Stay coming back right after this. I just clicked the wrong thing, but that's okay. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you were watching the clock because I actually was getting a question. Because I'm like, okay, I know what kind of flavor question we need now. And I'm glad you caught the clock.
Good. Yeah, I just happened to glance at it and go, hey, it's time to quit this.
And that was good. And I wanted it
so far.
That was fun. I wanted to end it with, we're going to dive into you, we're going to dive into me. Blah.
Right. Good. So this is definitely a topic you can riff on. Good.
Mm-hmm. I just threw in a guilt question I think is good. I'm going to look at I'm looking for forgiveness. Well, I did guilt versus forgiveness, and that didn't really come up with anything.
Right.
So I think this guilt question might cover both. Perfect timing. We're in break.
Yeah.
Now he's blowing off the lawn.
He's a wind blower or something.
Yeah.
Leaf blower.
Unfortunately, a lot of these, of course, are religious based. Yeah. So I think the question I found probably works. It's something we can definitely in the theme of in the flavor.
Do you want me to look at it, or are you just?
No, yeah, go look at it and make sure you're good. I'll read it to you. Years back, in the heat of the moment, I said some real nasty things to my ex, which I so much regretted, and since, each time I think about it, I inevitably feel an awful pinch of guilt. And by the way, this is one of the better written ones. I mean, it sounds like it's written fine to me, and some of them are really bad. It's like an apology would never be enough to make up for that kind of damage. We have each moved on, but even I think that's supposed to be even if my ex could forgive me, I could not forgive myself. How do you deal with such a guilt? And that's the question.
Right.
So it's both forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and dealing with the guilt, because they're definitely two different things. But they're also linked directly together, I think.
I didn't catch. Did he say something to his ex already?
No. They said it. It was done. They haven't spoken since.
Really? Okay. We can talk about this.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
All right. If he hadn't said anything, if he did something and just didn't tell his ex about it, that's a different issue. But if it's caused him to break up, you know.
It just says years back in the heat of a moment, I said some real nasty things to my ex, and it's not clear if they were in a relationship at the time or if they were exes at the time. But to my ex, which I so much regretted, and since each time I think about it, I feel an awful pinch of guilt. We have both moved on, and they keep saying the ex, so they're not in a relationship. And from reading between the lines,
Yep.
they never spoke of it again.
Yeah, we got this.
Yeah,
got this.
yeah, I figured. Okay, so that's not this section though. I just wanted you to know I got one. So segment 2, 8:59 on the clock.
Oh, wait for me.
I'm working on. I'm putting it on the clock right in a second.
Cool.
Okay, so you're gonna get marker time and go.
Yeah.
Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. This is the section of the show where Charles is gonna shine a bright light on me and talk about why I feel so guilty that I had to talk about this and how I can forgive myself or whatever the heck he's gonna do.
Well, you know, we always teach what we most want to learn, and this hit home. You know, check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Guilt versus forgiveness. Is there something that you're dealing with right now?
For me, this is not so much about concentrating on the guilt or forgiveness as it is being accountable to what I'm trying to do, trying to accomplish. What's going to help me continue to move forward with whatever it is I'm working on, whether it's writing, whether it's doing the Success Freak show, you know, quality of life, etc. What's going to work? Is the guilt that I'm feeling, is that really helpful to me? Should I just forgive myself and quit being so self?
See, now you're still talking principles. I want to know how you deal with your personal guilt. I think the world.
I'll tell you. I got it. All right, so as we've talked about a few episodes ago, it might be quite a few episodes ago, I am...
Oh, we're out of time. Sorry. Thanks for coming to... No, I'm sorry. Is that wrong? I'm bad. I'm sorry. I am. I apologize. Go ahead.
I am working on my credit card, paying off my credit card bills. So we've had some downtime in between shows. Those of you who are just new to the Success Freak show, I do a stage show, a Renaissance show called Tortuga Twins. But we've had some downtime, so I've used that credit card that I've been paying off. Now, I've added about, I don't know, a couple $100 to it. You know, maybe like between $200 and $500 to it. Normally, I'd be like, okay, you got to pay off that, and then jump in on your, you know, you're adding 10% of everything you make to help pay off your credit cards, which is my thing that I'm doing. Normally, I do that, and then it'd be like, oh, I'm so far behind. Oh, I feel so bad about that, and maybe I should just. And there's a good chance that I might just blow it off. After reading this, I'm like, nope, I'm going to jump into the 10% thing. I'm not going to worry about that. It's something I needed to do. I'm going to forgive myself and move on. There was such a light feeling about this that I'm excited to jump into it again. And in fact, I've already taken my first paycheck and some of the tips that I've made, thrown it towards that credit card bill, and I'm whittling it down pretty quickly too. So that is how this has helped me. Instead of making myself feel bad about it and thinking, well, if I feel bad about it, I'm definitely going to stick with it then, which doesn't work. All it does is make me want to avoidance behavior. I don't want to feel bad, so I'm going to just, you know, maybe not get back into the habit that I was doing, or just, you know, no, I got to do that because if I don't, then I'm cheating. Screw that. If the game is rigged. It doesn't matter as long as you finish the game and you win.
Well,
it does not matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bigger mindset of there are no rules. It's not a game. You know, going back to one of my earlier days of another podcast that I did a contest that said we're trying to build up. Back in the days of early podcasting, you did forums. Facebook really wasn't an option. MySpace wasn't. It was out there, but it wasn't good. And so the only way to be social interaction with your show, you did a forum. And we were trying to get more people on the forum. So we did a contest. The first person to get 5 new people to sign up for the forum would get a T-shirt or something. And one of my good Christian friends, which is funny, is he. And the reason I point out the Christian thing is he had that mindset of if you don't tell me there's rules, I'm going to go about and make my own way. Well, that was the whole bear crawling way, was you make your own way through the world. There aren't really rules in this life. There are laws, there are guidelines, there are morals, and you stay within those to get through your life, but they're not nearly as restrictive as rules. And he went in and he made 5 new accounts under each name, and he made it to where I knew it was him. But he got 5 new signups, all him, and he won because I pointed out that's exactly what I wanted to see happen. Now I wanted new people, but I wanted to really see the principle that I was talking about all the time of there's no rules in this life. We make it our own way. He made it his own way. He gets the T-shirt. That's why I love that you're getting to this point. And maybe you've been to this point for a while, but you're first now using the words, because I've always had a problem when you're doing some kind of diet and use the term cheat day. I hate that word cheat because, one, it does indicate that there's rules. You can only win, you can only be right if you do it this way. Therefore, if you do it a different way, you're cheating, which is bad. It brings on the guilt. Then it's just all bad. And then you fall into that trap of what you're talking about. I ate too much today. I won't get back on my diet, blah, blah, blah. I just hate the idea of cheating. But I love the idea of, hey, I'm getting to a goal, and honestly, any way that I get there works.
Right. Now, in the book, Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, he talks about being able to I forget what you said, how you say it, rig the system or whatever. He was doing some kind of martial arts competition in China or Japan, and one of the rules was that if you knock your opponent out of the circle, you win the bout. That's how he won. He became the champion, pissed everybody off. But according to the judges, right, he did it. He went in. It's a new martial art that he just started studying. He trained for a little while. He basically he went in on a lighter weight. He did that dehydration thing and then gained all his weight back so he could, and he won that way. He found a way to do that. It's like we're not advocating cheating. We're not advocating whatever you need to do.
Right, here's the problem.
Yes.
I love this. This leads right to guilt. Rules lead to guilt, okay? Because people don't follow the letter of the law. They don't follow what's actually being said. Everybody interprets all the messages. And what he did was he found the letter of the law. Well, everybody fighting in this tournament followed the spirit. The spirit is this honorable thing, and really you got to beat the snot out of the other guy violently. You can't push him out of the circle. Okay, there's not really honor in that. Somehow there is, but whatever. So you'd rather punch somebody to win than push them out of the circle. But the rules say if you go out of the circle, you lose. That's a viable strategy. I do a video game show, and it has player versus player in it. And we've talked about many times there's a debate on what's called sandbagging. If anybody's ever played any kind of cards like spades or even poker, sandbagging is the idea of you're holding back. You really could do better right now, but you're holding back to really trounce everybody. And there's a huge debate because that's just cheating. No, it's not. It's just like this guy sandbagged. He came in at a lighter weight. He found the way. He could not beat these guys fist to fist, karate to karate, whatever it was, in a fight, but he found a way that he could win that they were not expecting. It's different. And when the rules don't state you can't do this, or when the whole goal is not to win this way, get it the way you can get it. It's not cheating.
Right, and he's done this with a number of things as well. And although this is a business-related book, and definitely check it out. It is a great way to do it, especially if it's something that if you're trying to change your habit, if you're trying to fix something in your life. Remember, a lot of the most successful people in life view things as a game, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean they're not taking things seriously, but things that they're dealing with in their life, they look at them as challenges, almost as if it's a game. And if you're coming up against something, it's your game, your rules. I've quit a number of times certain things. It didn't stick, and we can talk about that too. But it was my game, my rules. If I want to quit dessert, I quit dessert, but I throw out little caveats. If I go to somebody's birthday party, of course I can have dessert. If I go to eat at somebody's house and they said, I've made this cake for you, of course I can have dessert. People will say, well, you're cheating. I'm like, no, you don't understand. My game, my rules, and it works. Am I eating healthier most of the time? Yes.
You also have to worry about how you present it. Because I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. Oh, and we are hitting the wall, so we'll come back and talk some more about this later on in the show. Find us at facebook.com/Success Freaks for more conversation.
Sweet. Boom, there's just so much to talk about.
I was about to jump right into that, too.
Can you save it for On Beyond? Do you remember what it was? Can you write it down and remember?
Well, actually, it'll be quicker just to do it in the level up section.
All right. I have stuff in the level up section too, but it's a long section.
Of course it is. All right, so we're going to come back. We're going to come back to the question here. So it's 9:59 again.
So this video, everything seems to be working great, right?
On my end, it's not as clear as it could be, but it's working. Yeah.
I'm using this thing, which gives me 4G and 40 gigs a month. The only bad thing about it, it's not everywhere. It's in big cities.
Is that yours? That's your MiFi?
That's my MiFi, which where I'm in at Bristol, I can't use it. So I'm borrowed Sharon Watson's, and I might actually pick up, that. But I don't know that this is worth spending for the whole year when I can only use it here. I bet there's a way I can turn it off and turn it on.
Yeah, your ultimate problem is you're traveling around the country and nobody covers the entire country. They just don't.
Right.
So yeah, maybe do more planning. Turn down contracts. Say, screw you guys. There's no internet.
There you go.
So, all right. Make friends. You have friends in every city but Bristol. Fucking make a friend in Bristol and then go use their internet.
I'm working on it.
Bandwidth. That's all.
I'm working on it. Well, what I was doing was going to a hotel, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want to pay $70 a week to be able to do the show.
You make a friend. Pay in time.
Make a friend.
Look it up on Craigslist. Somebody would like to watch you be on the show. I'm just saying. All right.
Maybe we'll put it out there. If anybody's actually listening to this and you have a home in the Kenosha, Wisconsin area and you have great Wi-Fi, you let me know. I'll come to your house and do the show. Maybe we'll put that out on Success Freaks, see what happens.
That's an idea.
I go to the Hoarders and Cat Lady's house and just be like, and I only say that because I was looking for a place to live a few years back at a place and got an invitation and walked in and there was stuff everywhere. Cats and books piled high, and I'm like, I can't live here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna hit marker, and then time.
Yeah, and then we'll hit time. So as soon as I get that, stop it. Don't go away. All right, ready.
All right. Marker. Time.
It is Success Freaks. That is the show you're listening to. We are back, and today we are talking about forgiveness versus guilt. And Charles, you got caught up before the last segment, but you're not going to talk about that now. You're going to talk about that later, aren't you?
Right. And we'll talk about it on Beyond Success Freaks. We'll talk about that in the last segment, what On Beyond is.
Groovy.
So
right now we're going to be talking about it. It's a listener question time. We have a question today we're going to answer. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm making a note from Beyond. Okay, here we go. Question time. Question time. All right. This is, again, from somebody out in the world. And if you would like to submit your questions for us to answer on the show, you can do that. Contact@successfreaks.com. If you want it just to come to us, and we'll keep your name private, you let us know. Don't put my name out there. We'll call you, Christy S. or Mordant M. or something like that.
Or mystery guest number 5.
There you go. We can do that. Or if you don't mind other people having input, because our Success Freaks out there have some great input to put in, you can go to facebook.com/Success Freaks and post it there. Or you can message us there as well, and we'll read it on the show. So today's question. Years back, in the heat of the moment, I said some real nasty things to my ex, which I so much regretted, and since each time I think about it, I inevitably feel an awful pinch of guilt. It's an apology. It's like an apology would never be enough to make up for that kind of damage. We have each moved on, but even if my ex could forgive me, I could not forgive myself. How do you deal with such a guilt?
Well, I think the first thing, as you said it right there at the very end, your ex doesn't need to forgive you. You guys have moved on. There is no reason for that. To approach your ex about this is to dread something that whether you have still a good relationship now as friends or you don't, all you're doing is staying connected and possibly being combative. The only person that needs to forgive you is you right now.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing to recognize is you don't need forgiveness from your ex. That's not going to do it. And I think you recognizes it right there. How are you going to do that? How are you going to find forgiveness of yourselves for yourself? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: you have to deal with the issue of what caused it. That's the bottom line. I mean, guilt is an external force. Honestly, if you really want to go back to one of the oldest documented stories, whether you believe it's true or not, in the world, there's Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve didn't have guilt until they were told to be guilty. You know, the story goes, they ate the apple, then God came and they hid, right? And God said, who told you to be ashamed? Who told you to be guilty? Who told you you were wrong? You know, it's an external thing. So you have to deal with what the issue was that caused you to say these ugly things. You have to deal with all the little issues. And I have somebody in my life who all the time says, I know I have issues. And that's a step, knowing you have certain specific issues. And she says, I don't know how to deal with them. That's fair enough. Because ultimately, I can tell you I dealt with my issues not by figuring out, oh, this is my issue and dealing with it, but by seeing the little things in life. Ed Morton, I've said it many, many times, he irritates the crap out of me. When I'm angry, he goes, why are you angry? Sometimes it's almost in the tone. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Why are you angry? What are you angry? If we really took you out of this, you told this about somebody else, why would you be angry? But ultimately, he's right. That's why it irritates me, because one, I feel like I have a right to my anger, and you probably don't. You probably just have an issue. And secondly is, okay, what is it that's making me angry? And you deal with the little things like that. Many years, talking about that, going to the apology part, apology won't help, because it's only you that can prevent forest fires. I'm sorry, it's only you who can forgive yourself. I'll get the right show here in a second. Yeah, you're laughing. I see it. You're laughing. It's because it doesn't matter. And they said this in the letter. Even if my ex could forgive me or has forgiven me, you could even say, I don't know how to forgive myself. It doesn't matter if somebody else forgives you. It's how you forgive yourself. I'm in a reverse situation where I said something over 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago. I said something to my wife that nailed an issue. She had a self-esteem issue, and I didn't realize it. And my talent when I was 20 years old was somehow just punching people in the face right where it hurts the most emotionally, and obviously not literally. Well, maybe not obviously, but not literally punching me in the face. But I pulled up to her, and I had my own self-esteem issue, so I'd tear other people's down. And I didn't know she had a self-esteem issue, and she's wearing shorts I didn't approve of because she was my girlfriend, and I didn't blah, 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 blah. I said, you look like white trash. That was almost 14 years ago now that I really think about it. And even this past year, this calendar year, we had a fight about things that were going on, and it still came up. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, I dealt with it myself. Inside of myself, I forgave myself, so I don't get upset when she talks about it anymore, which is a key. But she's still upset about it because it touches on deeper issues. And no matter what I've done to make it better, no matter how much I've improved on how I talk about how she looks and buying her nice clothes, any of that, it doesn't change the fact that that stuck with her because she has deeper issues than what I said. Not putting her business out there, but that's just human nature. She has to learn to forgive herself. I got past the fight of it because I forgave myself in knowing that I was a complete jack back then and just destroyed everybody. And sometimes you can make up for it and sometimes you can't. I've definitely improved our relationship. I think I've helped her feel better about herself, but it's still there. Morton?
Well, I gotta start off by saying I disagree with you. Not about the fact that you were a complete jack. I do agree with that. And most of what you said, I do agree with that. But that thing in the beginning, you saying that guilt is an external force. I disagree. I think it is stimulated by external forces, but guilt is an emotion. And you know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, you made me feel this way, or this person made me feel this way, and BS. Nobody makes you feel anything. You have control, you know, whether or not you can control your own emotions, that's an internal thing. Guilt is an internal thing. A lot of times we'll choose to feel guilty about a thing. We'll choose to feel bad about a certain thing. And it might be just your perspective. You may not have a grip on, you know, what the real story is, and you need to amend that. Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that, or oh, that wasn't my fault, or oh, I'm not really cheating here, so I shouldn't feel guilty, though I do. So you can amend that. But guilt is an emotion, and if you're going to lay that on yourself, just like this person here, that asks the question, and hold on to it for so long. I think there are other issues in hand there, but you're going to have to address that. You're going to have to take responsibility, yes, for what you did, yes, for what you said, but also for the guilt, because the guilt's not helping you. It's not helping you be anything more. In fact, it's keeping you, and maybe even giving you permission not to become better. Well, I'm a bad person, I do bad things, therefore I'm going to continue to do bad things, because that's how it works. The way you feel, if you feel bad about something, it's the what the hell syndrome. Oh, I don't need to do anything about this. What the hell? I'm already a bad person. You know, and that you're going to make yourself feel better that way. You know, well, you know what? I deserve this guilt, so I'm going to continue to feel bad about this because I'm a bad person. And on some way, it's you're making yourself feel better that way, which is a strange way to do it, but you're doing it. So you're going to have to get a grip on your own feelings and realize that you have control of your feelings, and ask yourself why you might be addicted to those feelings, to that emotional state. What purpose is that giving you right then? Well, you know, if I feel guilty, then I don't have to clean up my act, and there I can just be lazy about it. Now this is all subconscious. So you're gonna have to ask your questions. What purpose does this guilt serve you? And freaking get over it. Get over yourself first of all. Your ex doesn't need to do anything. It's not about them anymore. It's not really about the situation anymore. Get back to what purpose is this guilt serving me, and then move beyond it.
Absolutely. I think there's a mistake between guilt and regret, too. There was a time in my life on air I just lashed out at people because that was my therapy at the time, was my show, and I mean I went through some really hard times and some really hard things to deal with while I had a microphone in front of my face. And I ultimately just raged on my uncle who had written some things, and he was dealing with his own issues. He came from his own area, and it just hit home with me, telling me what to do, and I raged. Well, I dealt with it. He and I talked to each other. We forgave each other. We forgave ourselves. We mended the relationship. Yet a friend of mine cut some of that stuff into the opening of the show. So every time I used that opening, I'd hear it, and I'd cringe a little bit going, okay, I'm not deleting the show. That was a real point in my life, but it doesn't need to be in my opening. And the regret was there that it happens like, ooh, I punched a hole in that wall. But that wasn't guilt. We're going to talk more about this coming up in the next section where we talk about how to level up your life, how to level up your forgiveness, how to level up some of the way you talk about things. Stay tuned. Hit us up on twitter.com @success_freaks. We'll be right back.
Nice.
We need a 3-hour show, man. That's what we need.
You know what? People want to pay us for a 3-hour show. We'll do a 3-hour show.
There you go.
Happy to do it.
I'm looking for my time. 10:49.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to get into a vibe that we could before, because honestly before there was 1 hour is it. I mean, there was no filling multiple hours, even though it's not full 3 hours because there's breaks, there's blah blah blah, top of the hour, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But I think now we could easily hit this topic of forgiveness and have people call in and talk with them, and then give our own thoughts and talk with them. And, you know.
Yep.
I think we could do that. All right, 10:49 on the clock. We're going into level up. I've only got one level up, so you take it. You take it. You need to go. Yeah, I know you do. Yeah. Well, I'm just letting you know. I only have the one, so it should be full 10 minutes, but whatever. All right. Your marker and time. Marker time.
Selfishly, I was trying to find something. Let's do that again. Mark that again. I don't know where that was coming from.
I
Mark
had no
it,
idea.
please.
And you didn't lean back, so you know you pegged the crap out of your recording with that
Let me reset the time. I don't know where I was going with that.
one. I don't know either. All right. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. It is time to level up your life, and you are here with the Level Up guys. Today we are talking about forgiveness versus guilt. One of the things that I want to point out from the book, The Willpower Instinct, is the key to greater willpower is being more forgiving, not being harder on yourself. Self-forgiveness, not guilt, increases accountability. That's the way to do it, boys and girls. I mean, we all turn to certain things that when you want to rescue yourself from being in a bad mood, the brain wants to protect your mood too. It's not just your life. The reward system becomes activated. You know, you want more cocaine, you want more chocolate, more shopping, please and thank you. The promise of reward combined with the promise of relief. That ain't going to help you. But there are certain stress relief strategies that do work, that will make you feel better. If you're feeling stressed or anxious, you want to turn away from all these things that instead of, you know, going to your drugs or alcohol or going to Facebook all the time. Here's the list, and it actually does work, and it works longer in the day. Listening to music, hanging out with friends and family, taking outside walks, meditation or yoga, exercise, playing sports, praying or religious activities, reading, massage, and spending time with a creative hobby. There's a number of things on that list that when I do them, I do feel better. And sometimes we'll fight against wanting to do those things. Oh, I don't want to do this. I just want to go ahead and spend time on Facebook. I don't want to do this. I just want to go ahead and goof off over here. But once you do these things, the stress is relieved. Certain things happen in your body. Just bear with me a little bit. The main difference, I'm going to give you a quote. The main difference between strategies that work and strategies that don't, rather than releasing dopamine or relying on the promise of reward, the real stress relievers boost mood-enhancing brain chemicals like serotonin and GABA, as well as the feel-good hormone I'm saying it wrong. Oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
Thank you, oxytocin. Oh my God! They also help shut down the brain stress response, reduce stress hormones in the body, and induce healing relaxation response. Because they aren't exciting like dopamine releasers, like the other things that we do, we tend to underestimate how good they make us feel. So we forget about these strategies, not because they don't work, but because when we're stressed, the brain persistently misdirects us to what will make us happy. This means that we will often talk ourselves out of the very things that make us feel better. So be careful with that.
Yeah, I want to talk about leveling up your
oxytocin.
I want to talk about leveling up your mindset and your language, because it's the same thing, because it's how you say things to yourself. Earlier I picked on the words that Mordant used and talking about cheating, but he's changed his words now where he says there's no rules. Because honestly, that's a new way for him to tell that story about desserts. He used to tell the stories, well, I quit desserts. And we're going to talk about this in On Beyond, how you present things to other people matter as well, because it'll affect you. But I quit desserts. And then he'd show up somewhere and he'd eat cake like, you said you quit, now you're eating. That's not right. No. It's not like that. And he would use the word, it's my cheat day, or he'd say, well, no, I make these exceptions. Well, then you didn't quit dessert. And there was an impact because it's the way it was presented and the way he presented it to himself. You just pick up on that energy. And I'm only picking on him because he put on that story. I've done a million of these. But what I want to say is when he leveled up his language to himself and say, today I think was the first time I've ever heard you say, there's no rules. It's how I get to this goal that matter. It's not cheating when there's no rules. It's, oh, I can get there this way. I can do it easy. Why wouldn't I do it easy? When he said, okay, I'm not going to eat dessert most of the time, but of course I'm going to be pleasant when somebody has a birthday and celebrate. Because who wants to go to a birthday party? A little side note here. Okay, in reality, who wants to be at anybody's birthday party to have somebody go, no, I don't eat dessert. Shut up and get out. You don't have to make a scene. You don't have to be a jerk off. Just stop. So, okay, so not that Mordant did that, but that's obviously a little note hits home for me. I'm like, oh, I want to smack people. Anyway, I'm the dark side of positive, people. I will smack you.
I will. Let me interject. I will say that if I show up at your wedding, chances are I'm going to stay for the cake. That means I'm actually taking part of your wedding. I'm actually taking it in. It's very it's very important. I will stick around and like, oh no, we're late. We got to go. Nope, I haven't had cake yet.
Yeah.
Where's the cake coming out?
Yeah. So it's all about how you present. But when you say, I am going to do something this way, when you speak to the positive, you level up your language. If you ever go back and listen to any of the older Success Freaks, or a couple of them, it's not on every show, but every time the term cheat day comes out, I can't help it. I fight that term because it's such a negative, guilty thing. You're using a negative word. You don't have a diet and have a cheat day because you're breaking your rules. You're negating everything. That's what breaking the rules does. It negates things. That's why we have rules, okay? But when you say, man, this is how I'm going to build it, there are no rules. I'm going to move in this direction. That's leveling up your mindset, and that's leveling up your words, and that's how you get away from guilt. Can you fix guilt? I don't know, but I know I walked away from it a long time ago. And only when I truly do something, only when I do something truly stupid that I'm not dealing with right this second, I know I should, I'm avoiding it, then I feel guilty. And then I know, okay, I'm not guilty, I'm just not being who I'm supposed to be and dealing with this. Go ahead.
Right. It may be as simple as Charles was saying. It may be as simple as changing your language. You may change it from, because he wanted to say, give a reason for it. Instead of saying it's your cheat day, it's your play day. This is my play day. It's my rules. I'm playing this game, and this is my play day. Or it's for Christy and I. It's usually on our date day. And I'm sorry, we can eat whatever the heck we want on our date day. That ends the rules. We look forward to it, and you work hard the rest of the week, or you try to. And so it's all about just your language and your perception and how this is working. Remember, don't be hard on yourself. If whatever you're setting up to achieve creates a forum in which you're hard on yourself, you're working against yourself accomplishing that goal. And if you like doing that, that's the way it's got to be, you're going to have to ask yourself why. Are you really not wanting to accomplish the goal? Are you so proud that, no, well, this is the way it's got to be because otherwise it just doesn't count? Horse hockey. Revert back to Tim Ferriss and the way he won that competition. It counts. It's the rules. If it gets you accomplishing your goal, do it that way. If you're in a competition that other people have set up and there's certain rules with that competition, please adhere to them. Of course you are. You're playing with other people. But this is just to accomplish, to get things done. What's the trick? What's the fun little loophole you're going to create for yourself so you can accomplish the dream you've always wanted to have? What are you going to do to make that work? Why set yourself up to fail when you can set yourself up to succeed? Do it that way. It's better. And do it so it's more fun because then you're going to want to do it. It's your passion anyways. You want to be expanding your life. Why not do it that way? Don't be hard on yourself.
Move towards something good, not away from something bad, and do it your way. Yeah, you'll get haters because people hate change and they don't like when you're doing something they want to do and they can't because that's not within the rules. You have to turn a deaf ear to it. Move towards something good, and then you won't worry about cheating. You'll find good in everything you do, and you'll level up. You'll level up your forgiveness. You'll forgive yourself, and you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about other people. But now we need to tell you where to find us. Where can they find us, sir?
You can find us on SuccessFreaks.com. All of our social media runs through that. If you want to find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, all of the social media runs through SuccessFreaks.com. If you just want to hit us up on Facebook, wow. If you just want to hit us up on Facebook, Facebook.com/SuccessFreaks. Also, if you want to subscribe to the show, you can go to iTunes and find Success Freaks. We are there.
We are indeed. Also, we are featured on AM 1450 in Gastonia, North Carolina, the best of talk, sports, and news, and we're proud to be on that station.
That's right. Every Thursday. That's every Thursday night, starting at 5:06 Eastern Time.
Okay, now don't do that, though. It starts at 5 p.m. You need to catch the news. You need to know what's going on right before we talk. So look, give him his space. 5 p.m. He gets the bumpers. He gets the news. We'll give him that. Don't take that away from him.
If you're not in the Gastonia area, you can actually get to that station via the app TuneIn.
Correct.
So you can hear this show before it's released on iTunes.
That's correct. It'll be released on this Thursday, but as far as the radio goes, but it doesn't go on our site until the following week. So you can check that out. There was something else I was going to tell people to find. I don't remember now. It threw me off.
Instagram.
No. Please email us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk about your questions on the show. Email us contact@gmail.com, and we'll help you out. We'll do that. Now there was something else. I can't think of it. So just go ahead and take us on out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in to Success Freaks. We have had a fun time discussing failure versus guilt. This has been our Mordant Mon.
And I'm in the name of the Father Bear, the Holy Ghost Bear, and the Son Bear. You have to forgive yourself, Bear.
You're weird, man.
I know.
Ciao, Success Freaks. Boom, baby. All right, we're like 20 seconds under, right?
Yeah, 15. Yeah, but it'll be filled with music and stuff. It'll be fine.
So you're going to make Hugh play 15 seconds worth of elevator music?
Trust, we push the edge of how we play things a lot. So this will give us a little more wiggle room. It'll be fine.
All right.
It'll be good.
Right.
30, 45 seconds. Man, there was something, though. It wasn't our book. It was something. We want.
It wasn't YouTube.
No, I don't remember. All right, so what do we do?
Here if you're actually watching this video right now, this is how we work the show. We talk about things in the show. Last segment, I'm not worried about the podcast, but for the radio station, the term jack off. What's your call?
I'll take that. I don't know if we should say what the hell all the time or jackass, 'cause I really don't know.
Maybe jackass. I think hell is okay, but it is called, the syndrome is actually the what the hell syndrome.
Okay.
I would have called it the WTF syndrome. But that implies something's happening versus what the hell, I might as well do this.
Right. So that's not what we want. Okay, so we're going to go into On Beyond Success Freaks here. I got 12 minutes on the clock. So
you're going to bring us in?
Yep. Marker, time. Welcome to On Beyond Success Freaks, where we go bigger, better, more, and to the topic of the show. You can get this by, it's a little late now, but you can get this by downloading it if it is not played in your local radio market. I am Charles McFall. With me, as always, is our Mordant Mon. Whoop, whoop. As he leaned back. I waited for you to lean back before I introduce you, so you'd have to put in some exercise, sir. But we're talking about forgiveness versus guilt today. It's something triggered as we were talking about in the second segment, and I wanted to jump in on, is how you present things leads to forgiveness or guilt sometimes as well. And it really does start with you, but when we deal with our stuff inside, we present it to other people. So I don't know exactly where to start with myself. So here's what we'll do. We're going to make this little suggestion for this segment, is I can say something about what Mordant has done in the past, and then he'll say something about me, or maybe it'll trigger something I've done. I love to start with myself because I don't like talking about other people. I like to talk about myself, but I can't narrow it down. So I'll use an example. When Mordant and I first did a show together, it came up on New Year's. And he wanted to do New Year's resolution show, which I hate, and that's a whole different thing. And I hate it for this reason, because people present, I'm quitting this, I'm stopping this, and then they don't. And it leads to guilt, it leads to problems, it leads to a lot of things. I'm like, just stop. Just stop. Do what you want to do throughout the year. Stop. And he had a positive to it. He said, here's why you do it. It made for a great show. But at one point, people picked on him, and he did it great for a while. He quit drinking soda. He quit drinking sugared carbonated drinks. And I think you went a good 8 months, maybe even over a year. I don't remember. You went a long time, and you didn't. And then you cracked one open for some reason, and then you were back to drinking them. And you were honest about it on the show. And I had no problems with how that was dealt with. So that's why I picked this story, because it was handled okay. But it could easily be presented, I'm quitting, I never do this. And sometimes, especially with us on the radio, it can come across as we're better than you. And that's not our intention ever. We're never saying that. In fact, we might say we're worse than you, and here's why. And there's people who presented that way. But when he quit, as soon as he came back to drinking soda, he talked about it on the show. And here's why. And here's where it bothers me. And here's an issue I have to deal with. as opposed to a lot of times we'll say, I'm quitting smoking, and then you hide the fact that you're smoking because you didn't quit. You quit for a week. You quit for even 9 months. You quit for a year, 2 years, whatever, but you're back to doing it, and now you feel the guilt. But if you present it in a different way, and I hate to do this, but I have the positive for my life. If you present it in a way of going, a year or two ago, about 2 years ago, I decided I'm tired of my body making me breathe hard walking across a parking lot. I'm tired of being tired. I'm going to do something about this. And that was it. I found an easy way that worked in my life to manage the food that I ate. It almost became a game to me. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this way. And I lost a lot of weight. I have since gained some back because life changed. I got stressed. I know I should do better. I don't feel like it. It's a bad thing to do. But what worked was I moved towards a goal. I didn't want to not be fat. I didn't want to not be unhealthy. I wanted to feel better. And I found a way that I'm not going to do Weight Watchers because rules don't work for me. Oh, I found a way that I can do this, and it's just make your own way. That's what I'm going to do. And I think if you level up how you present it to yourself and to others, you get a whole different reaction than if you present it in the wrong way. Morten, what do you think?
Getting back to the thing with New Year's resolutions,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people will just pick on that because that makes you feel good, and it talks about it in this book, The Willpower Instinct, false hope syndrome versus the silver lining of feeling bad. Now, false hope syndrome is like, you know what, I'm gonna look at this thing, I'm gonna have a New Year's resolution, and oh, good, I feel good about myself, and that's good enough. Versus if you feel bad, a lot of people make their changes once they've hit rock bottom or they feel bad enough. They're like, I'm tired of being like this. I got to make that change. And that's the silver lining of feeling bad. McDonald's, when they here's an interesting thing about how the brain works. McDonald's, when they put salads on their menu, Big Mac sales soared. Because what happened is people looked up, they looked at the salad, they thought, I should really get one of those. They felt good enough, and they got the Big Mac.
Yeah.
What an interesting thing. Versus you really think it would work the other way. Oh, look, I should eat healthy. Let's get the healthy. You don't even need to get the healthy thing. As long as you feel good enough, then you can move beyond it. So you have to be careful with that. You have to be careful with that false hope syndrome. Oh, look, I read this motivational book, and I feel good about myself. What really needs to happen, fix your behavior versus fixing your feelings with fantasies of your future self. Because when you think about the things that you're trying to do for your New Year's resolutions. You think about the things that you're trying to do for those that the motivational book is talking about you. You have fantasies of what your future self is going to be. Sometimes you use affirmation. Sometimes you use visualization. And those make you feel good. But you don't fix your behavior, nothing changes. If I don't actually sit down and write, then me visualizing me as a screenplay writer isn't going to do me any good. I'm going to feel good, and yes, look, I'm bending the universe to my will, and things are coming my way, but until I actually sit down and do the work, it ain't going to help you. So you got to be careful with those New Year's resolutions. You actually have to take those painful steps and accomplish it.
Yeah, we're talking about the same thing, absolutely. This is definitely a category of where you change what you do to understand who you are. Now, I've said many, many times, what you do is not who you are. Understanding who you are changes what you do. But so many times, let's just use podcasting, because most people are into podcasting. Let's just use podcasting for a while. If you say you're a podcaster, but you don't do the 10,000 hours, you don't get the gear you need to get, you don't do a show, you do one or two, or you've thought about doing one and you haven't had a website, you don't put it out on iTunes. These are all things that go into being a podcaster. You're not a podcaster. You may have recorded one or two things. That's it. Something that does get me is one of the shows that I do is recorded live on a game video channel, Twitch TV. They get to watch us playing the game as we're talking about the game. So many times, this is not on them, but this is on just an understanding level, but so many times people watch that video and call it a podcast, and it's not. Now, all the hosts, myself and the other two guys that are on the show, we understand a podcast is something else, and we never call it that. But if we sat there and only did this video that only stayed up there a week, and that's it. It said, this is our podcast. We're podcasters. No, you're not. You could say that all day long. Back in the early days of me starting, I did that. I was like, I'm a radio broadcaster. Well, that got popped very quickly because somebody goes, well, what station are you on? Well, I'm not on a station. I have my thing on a website. And the thing is, you're not a broadcaster if you don't broadcast. You're not a preacher if you don't preach. You're not a good person if you don't do good things. That makes sense? You can sit down and I'm a good person, but I beat my kids. I'm a good person, but everybody around me hates me. Well, it's probably because you hate you, number one. But number two, it's probably because you're not actually good. And that's the other thing. Let me throw this in because I know Morna is sitting back because I got on my soapbox. I'll step down, box put away. Can you do good things and be a bad person, Morna?
In a book by Napoleon Hill, he talks about, I think it's in Think and Grow Rich too, he talks about in an interview, he goes to visit Al Capone, the gangster, in jail. And Al Capone is weeping in front of him going, people are not going to know all the good things that I have done. They're just going to know all the bad things. And that's true. Can you be a bad person and do good things? Absolutely. Can you be a good person and do bad things? Absolutely. One of my one fantasy book that I've been working on forever and ever and ever, when I actually do write it, explores the theme of the evil and good and the good and evil. There are good things. You can see really evil people be nice to animals. You can see really good people piss away their life savings at a gambling. Things happen. That's the thing. We're people. And if you want to come back from that, if you want to have a much better self-actualized life, if you want to have a richer, happier life, first of all, take responsibility for that crap. You need to. You got to be responsible for that and for your own happiness. And second of all, don't be so hard on yourself. Change your behavior, yes, because that's what needs to happen. But when you trip up, don't bring on the guilt, because that's not serving your purpose either. Being the law in your own life is not going to help you maintain that run. It's not going to help you on that path to where you want to go. And then just thinking about being a good person, the fantasies of your future self, achieving everything that you want to achieve, until you fix your behavior and actually knuckle down, or as prolific writer Nora Roberts says, ass in chair. Until you do that, you're not gonna accomplish the things you want to accomplish. So do that. Get off your own back. Quit being such a hard ass on yourself, and just do what you need to do. And if what you need to do is underachieve to success, I talk about I'm going to write an hour a day. That's not much. I'm doing that on purpose, so I'll do it because I know that life comes in. And you know what? I'm doing it because I can do that. Versus, well, I should be doing this. I'm going to set this huge lofty goal for myself. I'm going to write 3 hours a day because that at least is moving me forward. Yeah, but I'm not going to do it, and then I'm not moving anywhere. So sometimes you need to underachieve to success.
Yeah, I want to talk to the good doers out there.
Good doers?
Yeah, honestly, you could write an hour a day. It could still be crap because you're not a. I'm not specifically saying this to you. I'm saying if. Morna could write an hour a day.
Charles has actually read some of what I've written, so he knows what you're talking about.
All right, changing the subject. No. No, seriously though. Morna could write an hour a day every single day. And yes, he would be a writer, but maybe he never gets published because it sucks. Because it's not his thing. Maybe it never works because Morna is, instead of writing the fantasy book that really works in his world because he understands fantasy, understands themes, he understands character development, he's trying to write How to Be the Greatest Piano Player in the World book, and he's not a piano player. Just because you do it an hour a day doesn't mean it's going to work. You still have to understand who you are. Beyond that, those who try to be helpful, this is a chip on my shoulder. So understand that this is an issue that I haven't figured out what spawns the anger in it. So I haven't been able to deal with that. This is an active issue in my life, but I really hate when somebody is doing something good for you and it's just anti everything that you are, everything that you're doing. They're just getting in the way. They're just messing up your life. And then when you get angry at them, or you just, even if you try to be polite, say no, thank you, they get upset because they're just trying to help. No, you're not. You're not, because honestly, here's the definition of being helpful: understanding what the other person is doing and getting them to where they want to be, not doing it your way. I had a situation in my life many years ago where I was working on an ambulance. I did 2 days straight. That's a full 48 hours on a busy truck. I had not had much sleep, and I had my one day off. As soon as I got off, I had to go to my in-laws' house. I was married by then, and at some point in that period of time, either dating my wife or first married, I'd said offhandedly, I've never been to the Atlanta Zoo, and that's all I said. I didn't care to go. I still don't care to go there. I have my issues with zoos, and that's neither here nor there. And it's a fine place to go. I'm not dogging it, but I just said I'd never been. Oh, you've never been? So they planned this big trip, and just because I'd never been, and I'd gotten off, I'd had like 3 hours sleep, been gone for 2 days. All I wanted to do was go home and sleep, and they got mad at me and made me go. Like, you said you wanted to go, and I, the untactful person that I was at one time, I used some choice words that cannot be aired on the radio. But I said no, I didn't. I never said I wanted to go. I said I'd never been, and that's what I'm talking about. Being helpful is listening to what's going on. You know, most people who with good intentions, and what's the adage? Good intentions pave the road to hell.
Yeah,
you know,
the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
There you go. You know, being helpful. Here's the positive. Here's where I want you to go. Being helpful is truly understanding what the person is doing, who they are, and how you can help them get there, whether or not it's your way.
Right. Something else that could help too is it sounds like they surprised you with this. If they had set this up letting you know, you could have planned for it. It could have been a fun event that you were like, sure, I'll go. You're gonna take me to the zoo? I don't really care, but you know, sure, maybe it's gonna be great. But when you surprise somebody, especially if they're working as much as he was back then, so if you want to be helpful, sometimes a surprise is not the best way to go because it's not going to be helpful if you screw up their life trying to give them something that they just have never done before. Maybe there's a reason they've never done before. Maybe maybe they had a family member killed by an elephant once and they don't want to go to the zoo. So whatever you do, find out what they really need. Talk to them about it. Communicate. Don't do this thing because when you don't communicate, it's not about them. You're doing it so you feel good. You don't want to do that. So. Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. That is the difference between doing good and feeling good, right there, in a nutshell. All right, we're at our time, man. Let's take it out. Or I guess I can take it out. This is no. I get to do it. Ooh, my monkey arms. Ooh, what?
Again, a zoo reference.
Well, for my partner, R. Mornett Mon, who is my co-host, not my partner. I know what people get it wrong. My business partner. Because I've been told I have to specify, which it's that kind of world right now, I guess. My business partner, co-host.
The Supreme Court says we don't have to specify anymore. It doesn't matter.
All right, whatever. I have a wife and I love her. I love Morton too. So there you go. That's our Morton Mon. I'm Charles McFall. We got to get out of here. Say the words, man.
Ciao, dream hunters. Boom, baby.
There's a hole. Let's dig it more. There we go.
There was that lame ass joke that I put in the middle of this last segment. If you want to find it and get rid of it, it didn't go anywhere. I don't know. It was that place where I threw something out and you kind of stumbled your way back to it. It wasn't funny. I think it's towards the beginning.
I don't remember.
If you don't care.
Okay,
then.
so you're gonna have to take time to go and upload this somewhere else, and then you want me to find all this stuff and cut it out.
You have a very valid point. They have a very
I'm going to take out the things that could be offensive, absolutely. I think I'll leave the lame joke. Somebody probably thinks it's hilarious. To be honest with you, somebody probably is cracking up somewhere.
Right.
And since I don't remember it wasn't that bad.
Stop.
In the name of love.
File. Where's render at?
Right. Somebody's watching this. Somebody's watching this.
Is somebody watching this?
The Googles. So yeah, I hope they were entertained.
Oh, there it is. I'm like, where's the render thing? Okay. Oh well, let's do the pre-show thingy thing that we always forget.
The teasers is what you're talking about. Yeah. Teasers. So you're gonna need to either re-record or something.
How do I sound on yours?
You sound fine. Let me undo these. Scroll it down. Every once in a while it breaks up, so if it breaks up, I'll just let you know. Because it's a quick little thing, I'll let you know. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Redo it, whatever. Okay. I'm there. You should be there. Going back to the beginning. Scroll back up. Mute and then mute.
Oh, damn it.
Okay. Let's talk about real quick what we did talk about. Obviously, you come in to forgiveness versus guilt, where we talk about where guilt comes from and where guilt comes from and how to forgive yourself. Let's kind of break it down tease per section, where okay, so you're going to come in with this is number 58.
Yeah, 158.
And we're guilt versus forgiveness, or forgiveness versus guilt, however you want to say it. And I'll say the first section, where we talk about what's inspiring us to deal with this in our lives right now. Because that was the first section. You talked about the book, and you talked about what's inspiring you to deal with this right now. And then maybe you talk about the second section. And then I can talk about, and we have a question from you, and yet when we answer a question about guilt and how to forgive yourself.
Right.
And of course, the level up, all coming up now. Something like that. Yeah, man?
Yeah. I'm looking for the... No, go away. I'm looking for... Oh, it's on that. That's why. There it is. All right, yeah, let's try that. And we can keep rolling. Anyways.
All right.
So, let me know when you're ready.
I am recording now.
Welcome to Success Freaks number 158, Forgiveness versus Guilt.
Where we talk about what has inspired us to deal with forgiveness and guilt in our lives right now.
We're going to explore some of the topics from The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal.
And we pull Morton into the spotlight about what he's dealing with and how he deals with things now. And, of course, plenty of stories from myself.
And remember, the key to greater willpower is being more forgiving, not being harder on yourself.
We need to redo. We need to redo this. You're hitting the points from the show, which is fine, and I'm doing something totally different. It sounds like it's combating with each other.
Well, you're gonna pluck these things and move them around, aren't you?
No, let's read. I'm gonna redo it. No, because it's a whole. It can't work. It's a whole different voice. It's like you're speaking Spanish, I'm speaking English. You're hitting points from the show, and I'm talking about this poppy overall. What are we doing? And it's
right.
not singing. So if you want to hit points from, I think you should.
You know what?
Lead with
if you want to, let's do it your way. If you want to, you can pull the points already recorded.
No, here, let's do this. I think this will work. You come in with, this is Success Freaks number 158, where we talk about, you don't even have to call it forgiveness versus guilt, where we talk about and hit one of those points that you said about her, and I'm going to, then it was just going to be a really quick teaser. So you hit that, so you're going, we're going to talk about this point, or these 2 points, take whatever time you need, and then I'm going to say, and then we're going to share stories from our lives about how we actually dealt with guilt versus forgiveness, all coming up now. And then I think that'll flow.
Okay.
All right. And I'm reset. Record.
Welcome to Success Freaks number 158, where we are discussing the book The Willpower Instinct, and we talk about the key to greater willpower is being more forgiving, not being harder on yourself.
And we share stories about how we have dealt with forgiveness and guilt even today. We're still dealing with some of the things, all coming up now. What do you think about that?
Boom, baby. Sounds great.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think that felt good, so that was cool. Yeah. All right, so in general, because I'm not putting you on a clock, but in general, when do you think you can get this uploaded?
I'm going to do it right now.
Oh, that's right. You're in a different place. You can shoot. You don't have to leave and do it. Okay, cool.
Nope.
Good. All right, I'll look for it in about, depending on the speed, it can take 30 minutes to an hour, so I'll be looking for it. Good, because I'd like to get it done before I do From the Helicarrier today. That'd be cool.
When is the last show going to be published?
It should go up today. What I'm going to try to get in the habit of, as soon as I get the thing back from Hugh, is I'm going to go ahead and schedule the post for, I'm going to go ahead and put the audio in the post, so that if you've already got it written, I'll schedule it for a date to go ahead and automatically release. If you don't have it written, I'll put the audio and you'll see PowerPress in there, and I'll even let you, damn it, I got hiccups. I'll even let you know that I put the audio in so that you can publish it when you're ready.
Cool.
As long as it's a couple of days out, Saturday, Sunday, anytime after Friday, really. I guess technically anytime after Thursday, once it really airs on air is, it's not about airing on air first. It's really just about the getting all the pieces in place in time.
Right.
So yada yada yada. You get it.
Yep.
So. All right, man. Oh, I can stop barking.